Hey everybody, Dr. Susan here. Excuse my dress, it's my day off and it's absolutely freezing out today, so I know we're not as cold as other parts of the country. It's cold for here in Georgia, and we don't have the snow either, so I feel for y'all. I don't miss the snow, I know what it's like. But I just want to go over today about diet variation. So this is something I touched on our talk. But it's such a huge topic. I could not get into it on the talk. I can't even get into it on this video, but I'm going to try to give you the basics and then reach out if you need more help with it. But this is the one topic that people wind up coming and asking me, how do I figure this out? Because what many people feel is that if they find what works, they think that's what they do for the rest of their lives. And that's not so. It's about diet variation. So I always tell people when they get stuck with their weight loss, the first thing I always say is you have to vary it up. And a lot of times they don't know what I mean when I say that. So I try to explain a little further what varying it up means. But what it means is that don't eat the same thing every day or don't do the same thing every day. You have to learn variation. So I'll give you an example. Variation, actually, what I try to get people to and what I follow is like a 3-season eating plan. So you have spring, summer, and if you think back to 1,000 years ago, in spring and summer is when the harvest came in, when fruits were plentiful, when vegetables were plentiful, when the gardens were coming up and growing. When fall came, it was more root vegetables and squashes and things they can store for the winter. But in the winter time, food was quite scarce unless it was jarred or there's no food growing. So anything you could save, so it was mostly meats and healthy fats and whatever you could jar or preserve for the winter months. So that's kind of the time when you do keto. When you eat lower carbs, you'll eat more protein, more healthy fats. But then when spring comes around, I always say eat what's in season. So whatever the first things to come in season in the springtime, I think strawberries is the first thing. And then as the season progresses into summer, you'll have berries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. And then as you go into the fall, it'll be apples, pears, citrus. So that's three season eating, and you can probably Google that. I know there's a book about it, and the author has a great website, and all the information is on there. So that's a variation. So it's a monthly or seasonal variation. So what I'm usually talking to people about is a weekly variation, especially women. So if you're over 40, as I am, and you did or do the keto diet, I had great success on the keto diet. As you know, I had MS. And reversed it, and the keto diet, ketones, nutritional ketosis, does wonders for healing my brain, healing my body from MS. So it was an incredible modality that I used, but it's meant to be used therapeutically, and that's what I did. But at the time, it worked so amazing for me. My weight was down, I felt great, my energy was high, probably never felt better. But what happened was I stayed on it, just like many of you do. It was great, working great. It was easy for me to do. It was so simple. So I did keto and fasting for probably about 3 years, and did amazing and felt amazing. But what happens after time is that when you do that for too long, too much of anything is not good. So when you do it for too long, especially as a woman, will tank your hormones. My hormones are always really very good. I'm very lucky in that sense, but I haven't been meeting a lot of women my age or just slightly older than me that are not having the same luck. So what happened with me is that I started to gain weight back because it was a kind of reverse insulin resistance. I'm not going to talk about that on this video. But the thing is that the key to that was what I had to do was add in a feast day. And that's variation. So when I learned more about variation, I knew how to handle it. I love eating low carb. It does wonders for my brain. I'm best thinking when I eat low carb, and I'm less tired. So when I eat carbohydrates, still to this day, I can handle a lot more carbohydrates than ever before. But still, they will make me kind of sluggish the next day as my body metabolizes them. So a lot of energy issues that people have is that what they're eating is the issue. So you have to kind of find out for yourself what works best. And I'll tell you, speaking to women over 40, it's very multifaceted. It's not simple. It's not about one thing. It's not about one diet. It's not about vegetarian or paleo or keto or any of that. It's really a mixture of all of them. So there are times when I'm plant-based because that's the time of year for that. There's times when I eat more protein and more meat. That's in the winter time. And my body's to the point now where I've been doing this for so long, I actually crave, as the seasons change, my body craves differently. So I'm looking for different foods. As does women in their monthly cycle have to eat according to their cycle. This is a whole new concept that I'm studying. It's just according to your cycle. There's a time in your cycle, when you're menstruating, and then when your body's rebuilding back up hormones, ovulation comes, and then you actually have a couple of days when you're actually okay to fast again. But then before your cycle, I say around day 18, I think the older you are, the sooner it gets in the cycle. So maybe a week before, week to 10 days before the cycle would start, or what you think would be your cycle, if your cycles are not regular anymore. You have to feast during that time. So what feasting is when you are not fasting, not even intermittent fasting. It's you wake up in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, you're starving. So that's your body telling you you need more carbohydrates at this time. Your body needs an insulin spike to be able to complete the hormone conversions it's trying to complete. So your body is incredible at telling you what it needs. You just have to become accustomed to listening to it. And not just fight against it. So many times people will call me and say, oh, I did terrible this week. I was just starving. I couldn't fast. I had to eat. And then I say, well, bingo, right now is the time for you to pay attention to what's going on because you need that food. So stop fasting and enjoy your food. So usually I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting or any type of fasting. Some of you may be new at intermittent fasting. And if you are, that's fantastic. But I'm going to give you a tip right now that you have to do. You can't just fast or intermittent fast forever. So I just got an email from somebody the other day. She's intermittent fasting. She's doing great. And then she read some stuff online. It was kind of mixed. But I was like, you need to do variation. Like, don't just intermittent fast. Like, she liked it and it worked for her and it helped her a lot, you know what I mean? So she kept doing it for months and months on end. So she wasn't quite listening when I said to do the variation, and people don't. I'll tell you, I know that because I have people who lost lots of weight with me and they go low carb, and then I tell them, women, you have to have a feast day. Make Saturday, Sunday, or both your feast day. You have to eat. And they're hesitant and they won't do it. And then I'll ask them, did you do that? No, I didn't want to. I'm scared. Don't be scared. I promise you, if you're struggling with weight and you're a woman and you're over 40, you have to have a feast day. So I have women at age about 51 or so, they have to have 3 feast days a week. So they have to eat breakfast, they have to eat lunch, they have to eat dinner. They just have to. You still want to have a somewhat of an eating window, but now it's like a 12-hour eating window, 10, 12-hour eating window, and eat everything, but have 3 meals in that time. You have to, because your body will be calling out to eat at that time. So don't just think that you are losing control, that you don't have self-control or discipline, and that why am I always craving whatever it is. There's a reason for it, and you have to know that. For women especially, and that's why a lot of women fail on keto, because they go on and think they could stay on it forever. You can't. And if nothing happened at this point, that's fantastic, and you're having success, fantastic. I'm happy for you. But at some point, you're going to have to add in feasting days. I did. So it took me 3 years. I was doing phenomenal for 3 years, and then all of a sudden I was like, what's going on? And I had to add in the feasting day. So I did. So I'll just tell you basically about the feasting day. It's the 5-1-1. So 5, you do 5 days of low carb, what you're accustomed to eating, or if you're doing keto, which is the extreme, or if you're not, if you're just doing lower carbs, low processed foods, eliminating gluten, things like that. 5 days of doing that with intermittent fasting. 1 day feasting, at least 1 day. Make it a fun day. Make it be the day when you're craving stuff during the week. You save it for the weekend. That's what I always did. And like I said, it could be even 2 days, but at least 1 day. You have to at least do 1 day. And 1 day is a more extended fast. So 1 day a week, usually on my busiest work day, I will do a 24-hour fast or dinner to dinner fast. So when I stop eating dinner at night, I do not eat until dinner the next day. That's my favorite way of eating. I love it because I'm an eater. I'm a big eater. So to me that was perfect. And what happened was, though, you can't just do that one variation. Although it's a variation, you can't keep doing that one variation for a long time. So that's good to start with, 5-1-1. So you do 5 days of low carb, 1 day feasting, and 1 day of like a 24-hour dinner to dinner fast. The beautiful thing about the dinner to dinner fast is that one meal that you do eat, you get to eat. So you eat everything in that one meal, and it's very important that you do. That's the important time to eat. So I would eat everything in like probably a 2-hour window. Maybe not all at one time, but I would start eating at like 5:30, 6 o'clock when I got home from work, and I would possibly eat till 8 o'clock, hour and a half, so 7:30, and just eat everything in that time until I was comfortably full, and then that's it. And then the next day you start again, wherever you are in your variation cycle. So I wrote some things down here I just want to share with you. Like I said, start with 5-1-1. Women over 40, I say do 4-2-1. So 2 days of feasting at least. If that's not working for you, go to 3 days of feasting. So I have some women who are now at the 3 day. They have to feast 3 days a week. And they do lower carb 1 day a week, and they will fast 1 day a week. But that's the variation. So you have to see, that's the thing. You have to see what works for you and your body, what's your age, your man, your woman. It's all important. Like just following some fad diet, that doesn't work. I think you all know that by now. So if you weight stuck at a feast day, like I said, and weight will come off, I promise you'll be shocked. You'll eat more than ever and you'll lose weight. But on those feast days, you want to eat healthy carbs. So fruits, legumes, things you wouldn't necessarily eat if you were following a low carb or keto type diet. The fruits that you wouldn't necessarily eat. So when following keto or low carb, we eat lots of berries and things like that. So on the feast days, that's when you can have some fruit. Some have an orange, or have this time of season, or this time of year in this season, grapefruits and citrus is wonderful. That's the in-season fruit right now. Not a big fan of bananas and such, but you can have that. You can have that now if you're feasting. So feast day does not mean cheat day. So it's not that you go out and eat pizzas or French fries or things that you shouldn't eat gluten. It's you eating healthy. It's just a healthy variation of what you eat that you would normally eat regularly. So maybe sweet potatoes, maybe russet potatoes, beans. Maybe it's time for chili. Football chili, things like that. Time of year for that. And if you're having feast days, that's the time to eat that stuff. So I just want to introduce you to that because you can really enjoy life when it comes to food if you incorporate all this. So there are days there's discipline and you're more strict with yourself, but then there are days where you can have a little fun with things. Even a gluten-free dessert if you're craving something. A dessert, but it would be a gluten-free dessert because I don't tell anyone they should eat gluten. It shouldn't eat it. So we have cauliflower pizza here. Jessica wrote grain-free bread. I love. It's called Against All Grain rolls, and we make like a gluten on this grain-free roll. My husband makes like chicken parmesan sandwiches. They're amazing. But I would never in a million years think I could eat something like that. When I start having feast days, I can have it. I'm not going outside the parameters at all on things that'll harm my body. It's something that I can have and eat, and it's something I enjoy. We enjoy that together. So that's a big thing, grain-free rolls, or gluten-free dessert. And then on feast days, do not skip breakfast. So if you're a breakfast eater and you're missing breakfast, you wish you could have it, you can. So on these feasting days, that's when you have your oatmeal, or breakfast type foods, more than just like maybe a smoothie or something like that. So I want you to enjoy yourself. Please reach out if you have questions. This is such a big topic. I've said that one time a week I'm going to make a video on weight loss where we'll dive more into this. So please send in your questions. Definitely like and share this video, especially women over 40. I know I keep saying that because I'm a woman over 50 actually, so it's harder as we get older. It gets harder, but it doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to be depressing, and it doesn't have to be a constant frustration. It actually can work out really nicely. So I want to help women to cross over that barrier that we have in our minds. So I hope this helped. Please reach out if you need any help at all. We're always here to help you. Hope you have a great day.